Good morning, hello and welcome to today's edition of The Breakfast Club. If you remember all of the hoopla around the Coldplay concerts that took place last year, everyone rushing to get tickets, today's topic, the conversation those concerts generated, it's going to be super interesting for you. We're taking a look at the concert economy that has been growing in our country. My name is Toya Singh.
That's right, Coldplay concert last year. In fact, this year, the whole of the last, some time now in this country, we've seen an array of international artists actually coming down from Coldplay, Ed Sheeran, Dua Lipa. The list is really long. So what exactly is happening? Is this a trend that is in the short term, or will it stay? What will it take for us to not be dying on fastest finger first with our contest on booking these tickets? We'll take a look at all of this on the program today. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. Let's get started. India's concert boom is bigger than ever. Live music is now a money-making machine. Big stars, bigger profits, the business of concerts, how sold-out shows are just the beginning.
And after that, we are shifting focus. Remember, the Kumbh right now still in full force, and we talk about the sounds of Kumbh with Grammy winners who are collaborating. They're capturing the magic of the Mahakumbh. They're sharing their Kumbh experience. 12 tracks, Indian ragas, Western notes coming together in a unique musical insight.
Also on the program, the electrifying ride, first ride review of the Ultra Violet F77. It's the super street first ride. The future of motorcycles, is it? Overdrive will bring you the verdict.
And then on the road to the Oscars, all of the award shows that add up to the big golden man. We're taking a look at the BAFTAs in England. Glamour was obviously unleashed on the red carpet. You had some gorgeous looks. That's Pamela Anderson wearing a gorgeous Jacquemus dress. You also had, as you can see, Ariana Grande, Demi Moore looking incredible for the substance. Selena Gomez, remember, we'll talk a little bit more about these looks and, of course, all the fun and magic that went down in the BAFTAs.
All right, a sold-out concert used to be a sign of an artist's popularity. Today, it's a sign of an entire economic shift. When Coldplay packed the stadium with over 2 lakh fans in Ahmedabad, it wasn't just about music. It was so much more than that, and he's just one of the many.
Right, hotels were booked out, flights were overpriced, in fact, like you were looking at it, and they were bizarre numbers. Local businesses made a killing, and it affected and impacted everyone right from the top to the bottom. The Prime Minister called this the rise of India's concert economy, a booming industry feeding into tourism, hospitality and brand sponsorships, but all originating from music. And this is just the beginning. We just talked about Ed Sheeran's shows. Ed Sheeran's Delhi show is already the hottest ticket in town. You've had stars like Diljit, Dosanjh, AP Dylan who are packing venues, fans lining up in the thousands, planning months in advance to buy that one ticket for their family.
That's right. So we thought we'll sit down and we'll understand how does this concert economy really work, and is India right at the cusp of something bigger. Joining us next is Sabbas Joseph. He's the founder for Wizcraft Int'l Entertainment Private Limited. Good morning, Mr. Joseph. Thank you so much for taking out the time this morning. You know, India is seeing more big ticket concerts than ever before. What's fueling this trend really, and is it just the beginning?
To start with, I think India is rising. India is rising on multiple counts, be it as an economy, as a powerhouse for entertainment, culture, and experiences. If you look at many of the artists who are coming in, they are artists who are popular today. It's not just one nostalgia trip. So the artists of today who are touring the world, and the artists of today are finding it relevant to come to India, because here's a country which has a future, which is the future. What is fueling it in terms of the excitement? We've never had these kind of artists here before. We have the consumer who can pay, which never existed a while earlier. The consumer has the money, the willingness to spend, and the disposable income where he's living for today and he wants to party tonight. The entire attitude of the Indian consumer has changed, and it's responding and it's favorable to performances, concerts, experiences that are coming in which are once in a lifetime. The way people have gone crazy about a Coldplay concert, not just in India, but across the world. Look at what the Coldplay concerts have done to Singapore. What have they done to the Australian economy? What have they done to the Thailand economy? So, and these are just in our vicinity. Coldplay concerts sold out in UAE and 1+1. If you look at what happened in India, a concert after concert after concert just kept getting announced. Even a city was changed or added on, and that worked magically. So the hunger for experiences, hunger for uniqueness, never before seen experiences, never before experienced events, there is a surge for that, and there's a desire for it, and there's a willingness to spend and pay for it.
But sir, there's a bit of an online joke for a few decades now that when artists say they're going on a world tour, they never actually mean world tour. India, parts of Africa, they always leave them out. So what will it take for India to become a permanent stop on every major world tour when we can take it for granted that an artist will stop here?
For me, this is just the proof of concept. It is not even the beginning. The beginning will happen just after this. What you're seeing today is just the proof of concept that artists can come in here, they can perform smoothly, no challenges, and leave smoothly. Okay. One, with no negativity, simply positive experiences. Two, it is a sign of what these concerts can do to the economy. What you're seeing is a trigger, a catalyst for the future. These triggers are getting results across the economy. Travel, stay, people moving across cities, cross-city experiences, cross-country experiences, hotels that are doing booming business, ground transportation, tourism, tourist spots, restaurants, bars, retail, everything around a concert does well, including the parking attendant. The truth is this, that we are only 0.01% of what we can be.
Yeah.
You will have more and more artists coming in, bigger artists, bigger names, higher frequency, and across multiple cities. The smaller towns will also respond to this. What's missing? Infrastructure to start with. Two, sometimes an attitude to be able to give permissions and licenses ASAP. Police officials, if government administrations gave you your permits more easily without waiting till the nth hour, without waiting for their respective free passes or complimentary passes to arrive for them, I think it'll make a world of difference because it'll bring in predictability, insurance will kick in earlier, and it'll give advertising, the concert organizers, the artists, that much more confidence to go out there and deliver their best.
Yeah, but Mr. Joseph, you talk about experience of the artist. What about experience of the concert goers then? The tickets are way too expensive, wouldn't you say? Many fans complaining about how if it would actually add up to how much they would pay of attending a concert, say, abroad.
I personally believe it's not that expensive. And I'm sorry I'm saying it that way. Because think of what you'd spend for that same concert in another country. The artists are charging dollar salaries. They have a commitment to their band members, to their production, and that's the cost. Now, if those costs have to be met, where does the concert organizer get that money from?
Okay.
Sponsors, yes, up to a particular point. Government, state governments funding it, central governments funding it, up to a point. After that, who is the one who's really experiencing the event? The consumer. The consumer needs to pay. And when that consumer pays, the consumer needs to pay, keeping in mind that the concert organizer is incurring all these costs to get that experience to them. And unfortunately, it's not cheap. So what you're being charged actually is not that expensive when you think of what you require to go through. Now, let's assume you were not attending that Coldplay concert in India. You're traveling to Singapore to watch it, or you're traveling to the UAE or London to watch it. Add on all the other costs, add on flights, add on visas, add on hotel stays, add on everything else. And still you'll be paying a higher fee per ticket in that experience. So frankly, it's not as expensive. Yes, it's much more expensive than what we previously pay, what we'd like to pay, or what we're used to paying. But if you got to experience the best in the world, you have to be ready to pay, or else it's unviable.
Okay, you're talking about paying with money, but there's also been a lot of frustration from people where it feels almost like we're paying with our time, in the sense that just the booking process has become so complicated. We saw with Coldplay the kind of online response it generated. You know, people on dating sites advertising that they had a Coldplay ticket because it was just so hard to get a hold of. It's become a bit of a fastest finger first nightmare. How can that part become better?
I think that will change. I think you'll get better infrastructure, better facilities, more predictability in your ticket booking, and you'll have more such concerts, and hopefully the demand will even out. I won't say peter out, but it'll even out. But the challenge of fastest finger first remains across the world. It's not only for us in India. We're experiencing it for the first time. We Indians, and especially the so-called elite lot, are not used to getting a no.
That's true.
Are not used to struggling to get something that they want.
Especially when you're paying so much money.
The recent struggle is something that everyone will regret and say, oh no, this is not cool. But reality is that it's much worse elsewhere in the world. So we've got to get used to it, and we all need to fall in line.
So Joseph, I want to understand the concerts a little bit more from you now. And the perception is that it's largely Gen Z, the one who's spending so much money on these concerts. According to you, what is the data saying? Are people coming from across generations, millennials, boomers, etc., or is it largely still the concert economy meant for the young?
I think it varies from concert to concert. When it comes down to just one EDM concert, you have the Gen Zs and the millennials and little above them trooping in for the concert. When you do a Coldplay, it cuts across ages. When you do a Sheeran, it cuts across ages. Even a Diljit or an Arjit, they cut across ages. Not necessarily so much in terms of the older segment for Diljit, but definitely for Arjit, for A.R. Rahman. They cut across the entire segment of Gen Z, millennials, the older lot, the senior lot, those who super executives who've got the money to spend for the large, expensive tickets and experiences. All of that is there. And I think the best commercial opportunities or commercial experiences are the ones that really reach across different demographics. Because in that, there's something for everybody, and different price points work for different people in different segments. So I think those are rounded kind of experience which give concert organizers their best chance to recover money, to make it commercially viable. and it also gives the performer a great audience that is really out there capturing their entire life's work.
Right.
The other part is this, that you're able to create a much richer experience with a more mixed audience.
Can you explain the other side of all of this? So what we mean is the breakup, the actual breakup. When it comes to the amount that you're spending to put together a concert, how much are you spending on the artist, on organizing, on the infra that's required, on the food and beverages, marketing and promoting it? Just break that down for us so we can see behind the scenes.
Let's assume for a moment you have 100 rupees, or in a percentage of 100, I'd say 50% of the cost is the artist. Sometimes it could be 60%, sometimes 70%, but most often it's at least 50%. And production would take another 30%. Another 10% I'll keep for marketing, and 10% I'd keep as cost for services all around, from ticketing to cleaning the place, to providing a venue, to providing infrastructure, licensing, music permissions, etc., everything into one 10% bracket. How are you recovering that money? I'd say 20% to 30% is recovered through sponsorships. Another 50% to 60% is through ticket sales. Bar sales could be another 10, maximum 15%, bar and food sales.
Only.
Merchandising, lots of the other paraphernalia around is probably 1% and 2%. To be able to make it viable and profitable, somewhere you're required to do better. Increase your sponsorships or increase your ticket sales and bar sales consequently to give you that more than 100%. I think that's really where the magic is. How do you get there? Very often you're going to have a scenario wherein state governments, cities are going to see the value in hosting these concerts and experiences. And I look forward to them looking at their economy and funding these concerts to be able to make them attractive propositions in their respective cities as economic triggers. I think that's going to be the game changer for India. Because as you take concerts to our cities, to the smaller towns, to experience zones, I think it's going to change India.
Right.
Okay, that's all very exciting, sir. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for breaking down the numbers, so how it actually works behind the scenes. But now, we thought we should take you to the next aspect of this entire question. India's homegrown brands. What does it look like to build something in India from scratch to create a legendary, globally known IP? Joining us now is one of the biggest names behind India's live music explosion, someone who's pioneered this for more than a few decades now. Shailendra Singh, thank you for joining us. You're one of the co-founders of Sunburn, and for so many of us, we've known Sunburn for decades now as this really, really cool thing. Can you just tell us, Mr. Singh, first, take us back to the early 2000s. I believe it was 2007 when you first built this festival. Tell us what that light bulb in your head was. Why did you decide to build an EDM festival in Goa? And now it seems very obvious, but at that point it was path-breaking. Can you take us back to that moment?
Yeah, first of all, good morning, and I'm happy to be on the breakfast show. And the one thing before, because Sabbas spoke a lot about everything practically, it was like sort of an autobiography of what India should be like. So I need a little bit of more honesty and professionalism. So I was invited at 8 a.m. sharp for the show. So I was all like sparkled and ready. And then he made me wait for 15 minutes. So first of all, India needs to get more professional and honest. If you really want to, create concert and experiences like we experienced in Amsterdam and Germany, etc. Now going back to your question of 2007, honestly, at that time, the light bulb moment was the fact that we had the youngest population on the planet, 600 million below the age of 25. Now, I said that in the first press conference in 2007, that Sunburn has the power to make a social difference. My objective was way larger than just doing gigs and concerts. I knew that this is going to be an economy for sure at that time itself. And the reason we did 2 festivals, 2 IPs at the same time. We did Metal Fest and Sunburn. Metal Fest was in East. That actually made money. But we knew that metal music or rock music or Sufi or Punjabi or Hindi has lyrics. And India is not a sing-along nation. You should know that by now because you call cricket a religion in this country. We don't have a cricket anthem. We just keep shouting India, India, Sachin, Sachin. But while Manchester United has 109 anthems in their stadium just in a football game. So I knew that electronic music has no lyrics. It's just got energy. And the youth, whether he comes from Allahabad or he comes from Amritsar or he comes from Bengal, wants to unite through music. And the lyrics is always a barrier for them. Because if they don't know the songs, you're bored in a concert after about 8-9 minutes, you're done, So electronic music was a choice. It took me 4 years to break even. It was a tough ride because in 2007 at 4:26 p.m., we opened the festival at noon. We sold the first ticket. So I was standing there sweating and saying, what have I done? Because I was an advertising guy making a lot of money in all my other businesses. And this was my dream to make something from India for the world. You must understand we're a brand new nation of 75 years. We're a land of traders. We're not a land of creators. We do not empower creators. We love trading. We like to make a quick buck. So therefore, at that time, it was tough. And don't forget what happened next year, 2008, 30 days before the festival. 26/11 happened. The whole nation came to a standstill, And I remember the 300 CRPF people came to Sunburn on the beach on year 2 to shut the festival down. And I had the good fortunes of having all of you colleagues, the media there. And I said, because the cops came and it was drama, media likes to report exciting content. So they were there and I appealed to the Home Minister at that time. It was like live news, like breaking news, boom. Anyway, I took that opportunity and the Home Minister's speech just a few hours ago was, "Hum darenge nahi, hum jhukenge nahi. Hindustan band nahi hoga, Hindustan khula rahega." So I said, if the PVRs of the world and the malls and the trains and the planes are flying, why are you shutting down Sunburn? So my plea went out and guess what? We were the only event in the entire country that was allowed to function in 2008. If that didn't happen, today would be a different ballgame altogether because I would have given up. So yeah, I think your fortunes, guts, a little bit of balls and brains to make it happen. But then now that we've done about 6,000-7,000 events since 2007 in this country, and guess what? All safe and sound, and suddenly there's a concert economy.
Right. Mr. Singh, that's interesting. And firstly, thank you for your patience right in the morning. Just the nature of news sometimes that we've had to, push things up and down. So glad to have you there with your cup of coffee while we share ours. If you have so much of experience of actually doing this over the years, and we've come a long way. I remember back in the day, Metallica getting cancelled in Gurugram about a decade ago or so was such a massive hit, and we said, oh, India just can't live up to the expectation. But things have changed. And how? What do you think contributes to this? And what I'm actually asking you to think about is that if you had to start a festival today with all resources at your behest, what would you really do with it?
So very intelligent question. So first I'm going to answer the fact that we still are, I'm saying it economy, not country. We are still a reactive economy, not active. India reacts. And the current controversy, I don't want to mention it, but we are reactive. Forget the stampedes and the fires and all. We are boom on a YouTuber. So this is who we are right now, okay? So 100 good things, but one bad thing. Everything will crash. So the civil society, the infrastructure, the will. So concert tourism, I call it music tourism. Mr. Modi called it concert tourism. I think he saw a narrower vision. I feel music tourism is what we should be focusing on because that goes bottom up and top down. Just like, sports tourism was taken up by South Africa and Australia. They're sporting nations. They host World Cups in a flash, like a Maggie noodle. We guys have to get nervous just hosting Commonwealth Games. we know what's going on in Kumbh. It's a huge event, brilliant intent. But parallelly, there's an article saying we want to host the Olympics. Wow. We'll have to get ready. So there is a lot to do. You know what's happening with whether it's Taylor Swift, whether it's Coldplay. Just to on your channel exclusively, I signed Coldplay 11 years ago for 1 million euros. I have the contract in my hand, Live Nation. You know, yeah. So that was his first time. I mean, also another thing that you should know that I brought Ed Sheeran to India for the first time 15 years ago at the racecourse. We had 25,000 crowd, but only young girls. That was fascinating at Mahalakshmi racecourse. And that was his first visit to India. So I tried all the first things, but the fact of the matter is we still need 176 permissions. Like Sabbas said, we still have a Babu mentality. One phone call and you'll piss in your pants and give passes out. And, you know, also the administration, you know, it's very aggressive because we are very politically driven as a nation. You know, politics is everything in this country. You know that. So when you're politically driven, then you forget about fans, the consumer, the bill. Look, I mean, you have a Qutub Minar in Delhi, right? Is it your Leaning Hour of Pizza? Is it a monument like from Prague? Is it maintained that way? So these are things that we have to take care of. Opportunity exists, I'll tell you why. We fought back in 2000. I begged people. I went all over the world to say India is not a land of snake charmers. We speak fluent English. We have a GDP of 8.6. Please come to my country. We have the largest youth population, the largest digital population.
Now you don't have to do that anymore. Yeah.
And now everybody's fascinated. Everybody wants to come to India because India is the next big thing on the planet. But we will have to be a little careful, huh? I mean, we can fly the bullet trains, but we'll have to just take care of the normal trains first. So, you know, so a little word of caution. The youth wants it. The economy wants it, desires it. The potential exists. You will have to play horses for courses. You know what I mean? Like I was fought in sports on your channel itself. And I said, I don't know, I have no idea why politicians are running sports in this country, but all the federations are run by politicians. You know what I mean? You remember the boxing story? I ran away from boxing. All my sponsors ran away.
Can we ask you, Shailendra, before we let you go, you've talked about this in the past too, and it kind of ties back to what you were saying right now. When it comes to issues, there's also the tricky issue of moral policing. And you did an EDM festival in Goa in the 2000s, before, you know, EDM was a concept that we all understood. How did you walk that line?
I'm going to send you my book. I wrote a book on it. We had a very complex democracy. I mean, electronic music meant drugs, meant sex,
in people's heads.
Meant smoking. I don't know what it meant. And you know, I'll tell you a fascinating thing. I start the festival by playing Hanuman Chalisa on the speakers. Since 2007, the white folks, because we used to have tourists from 59 countries. Please hold on to this fact. The Cricket World Cup that you just hosted, that you won, had 99% Indians in the stadiums. No tourists. We didn't market the Cricket World Cup. But in Sunburn, we used to have tourists from 59 countries. So we were very old school. But you know what I realized? You're so spot on with this question. I went straight to Surat. And I decided to do an event in 2009 in Surat in a campus in a university. And the principal said, are you mad? You know, this is going to break all the norms of school. I said, listen, I showed him videos. I said, this is where the youth wants to be. There is no drugs. There is nothing. It's a social platform to bring youth together, pure energy. Strangers become friends. A Punjabi hugs a Bengali because the tunes are right. It's a beautiful business, and they agreed. And now we've done about 10,000 campuses. You know, that's the whole bottom-up strategy. So it was tough. It's still tough, actually. I won't lie to you. Even my mother, who's no more, kept saying, "Ye kya kar raha hai tu? Samaj ko ganda bana raha hai." I said, "Mama." Then I took my mama with sunglasses and made her stand in Sunburn. And she says, "Ye bahut badhiya hai, ye chalega." I said, "Why, mama?" "Ye samne Bhagwan hai, chota stage pe, the DJ." She called him God, and he's saying, "Ye sab 15,000 log aise se kar rahe hain. Ye acha hai."
Yeah. Mr. Singh, you seem to be a man filled with stories, and we'll have to revisit interview with you to sort of get all of that out. But in paucity of time, we have to leave it over there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for taking out the time.
Lovely to meet you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
You too. On that note, after all that concert, music, economy bit, it's time for us to take a break. Coming up on the other side, there is another electrifying story, but this one